présenté par Blackmagic Design, en partenariat avec DXM Technologies.
On est chez Izotope avec mon ami Evan ici. Il va nous montrer ce qu'il y a de nouveau avec leurs plugins Izotope, spécifiquement le RX Connect que j'ai vu hier qui est vraiment très cool. So Evan, can you show us here what's new with isotopes and also specifically with the RX Connect?
RX, absolutely. So RX5 is our current generation of our all-in-one audio repair and enhancement suite. So it's all about getting rid of background noise, removing hum, hiss, clicks, distortion, etc. And we really added in a number of tools to help in the post-production stage for doing things like matching location dialogue to VO, pulling ambience from one file, applying it to another. So it's really about just smoothing out the process and making things that usually take a lot of effort and a lot of time, just a single little process of a single module. So this is the interface of RX. RX is both a standalone application and a series of plugins. And really one of the huge things about it is that you have access to this sort of visual editing platform with this spectrogram. And so you can actually go in, basically Photoshop your audio, select things with a magic wand to pull it out of there. But it also functions well just jumping back and forth between your host application, which is, as you mentioned, RX Connect. So in this particular situation, I'm going to jump over to Pro Tools, which is currently my host. So in this particular file, we have the issue of our actual studio recorded VO sounding quite different from our location dialogue because they're different places, different microphones, various problems. So this is the studio done VO.
I arrive early in the morning and meet Daniel Sadeh, the facility manager, who has arranged our visit. Hey, Dan.
And we can almost hardly hear that part.
Yeah.
So what we have is our RX Connect tool. So if we go into Audio Suite, Noise Reduction, RX5 Connect, all this plugin does is just shuttles audio to and from the standalone application. And you'll see as well that we have the option of sending something for reference, which is just a one-way repair, or a one-way send, or sending it for repair, which is then send it over to RX, change the way it sounds, and then bring it back. So in this case, we're going to send our studio VO as a reference track because we just want to pull some information from it. And then we're going to send the location dialogue for repair because, again, we do want to actually change the way that it sounds. So we have now two tabs open, our reference file and our location dialogue. And this is really good as well to bring it into RX because we can see visually this sort of bright bar down the bottom. That's a lot of wind rumble. And while we may be able to hear on these speakers, if I'm listening on my laptop speakers, that's probably not going to be heard. So it's good to just visualize this problem. So the first issue is that really it sounds completely different. Again, they're different microphones, different locations. So one tool that we have is called EQ Match. It is a very simple tool. Basically, all you do is you hit learn on the EQ that you like, that sounds good, and then hit process, and that's going to apply that EQ profile to the other file. So here in our studio VO, we'll hit learn, head over to our location dialog, hit process, and now we'll see there's a lot more low end to his voice. It's a lot more rich.
Hey, Dan. Thank you. Can't wait to see this place.
So super easy to do that. And then all we do to actually bring it back into Pro Tools is hit send back and then render. And now that change has been made.
So it's going to come back at the same spot.
Exactly. So wherever you have selected there. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting though because as I think I mentioned to you yesterday, we come from the background of everything has to be pristine and clean. Many people are using this the complete other way around. So they're using it to get a harsher and more rough sound to their actual studio done VO or ADR. And that's actually one of the reasons that we created a tool called Ambience Match. And so let's say that we're actually doing this the other way around and we're trying to make the studio VO or ADR sound like it's done on location. Ambience Match, essentially all we do is we hit learn. It's intelligent enough to figure out what's in the background, what's in the foreground, and it's going to then synthesize that room tone over whatever you have. And again, it's super intelligent in that if there's little sections where that room tone exists, it's not going to put additional room tone on top of it. So then we head to our other file here. We just hit process, And now we have that background wind noise on our, in this case, our ADR. So it's a really powerful tool with that. And within Pro Tools, we actually have this as an audio suite plugin as well. And one of the huge benefits of that is that instead of destructively editing it to that file, what we can do is hit learn, grab some empty space here, and we can render out an entire ambience bed for however long you want. And instead of sitting there, copy, paste, fade, reverse, copy, paste, fade, reverse for ages, I literally just grab that, and 2 seconds, we've got an entire bed of ambience.
Okay, so you said the word destructive. So when you go into RX Connect in your application, all the change that you apply, is it destructive, or can you come back to the previous sound file?
Previous state. So as soon as you send it back and render it into your host, that is destructive there. So in that case, if you weren't sure that that's going to be your final version, what you can do in RX is save this as an RX document. And that's going to save basically a file with the audio files as well and your entire undo history. And you'll see that as I run different processes here, they're going to show up down the bottom. And then you can just go back through steps through your history. And again, that RX doc will save that. So as you mentioned, if you're not sure of like, this is my final one, save an RX doc that then you could recall later.
Good. One last thing. Could you talk to us about Deplosive?
Absolutely. So Deplosive is one of our new modules within RX5 Advanced. It is a very powerful tool because it's entirely automated. So you can fix plosives with things like spectral repair, go in, visually select it to remove it. Deplosive, however, is a very powerful tool because it's entirely automatic. So if I grab almost our entire VO here, head into RX Connect and send this over to RX, again, Deplosive is entirely automatic. All we do is load this up, hit process. It's using interpolation to remove this, so instead of going in with a notch filter, which is going to change the way it sounds, this is simply attenuating that via interpolation. And in a case like this, where we've got about 6 minutes, it takes about 10 seconds to remove all those plosives. This is also super good for things like lavalier mic bumps. If your jacket hits the mic, get rid of any kind of low frequency thumps. So super powerful tool just because it saves a lot of time.
Thank you, Heaven. Alors, en fait, pour faire un petit résumé, on a regardé la nouvelle application RX Connect, qui en fait est une application à part de notre Pro Tools ou de n'importe quelle workstation avec laquelle vous travaillez. En fait, ça permet de sélectionner un timecode précis, votre fichier audio, et puis de faire toutes sortes de réparations, que ce soit des clics, des pops, enlever un bruit de vent en background, ou même rajouter de l'ambiance pour uniformiser, dans le fond, vos pistes de son. Et puis, ça permet en fait de ramener dans votre application, après, à la bonne place, le fichier. On a regardé aussi toutes sortes de plugins qui permettent, en fait, d'enlever des bruits indésirables comme des frottements de chemises sur les micros ou des pops ou toutes sortes de trucs comme ça. Alors, voici ce qu'on trouve cette année chez Izotope.